Okay, it is 4 weeks today until our wedding, and the dress is not done. The actual dress is not actually started, but this is where I'm at so far. This is my second full mock-up of the dress, and this is pretty much how I want it. There's a few things I would like to change, and I'm probably going to make another mock-up before doing the real thing, just to see if I can sort them out. But for now, I'm actually pretty happy with it. It doesn't sit fantastically on the dress form. The dress form's not quite my measurement, so I think it looks a little bit better on me than it does on here. But I've got it's very deep V, puffy sleeves. The length is just a half circle skirt, but I need to make it a bit longer. The darts I really struggled with. It took me loads of different attempts to kind of actually get them right. And then the waistband as well. Actually want to try and make it a bit straighter. And this is it at the back. So I'm just going to have button, and then open back, and then a zip. Originally, I was played with a couple of different patterns. I bought two patterns. One pattern I did quite like on the whole, but I didn't like the bodice, but I've taken the sleeves directly from that one. And then I got a different pattern with a different bodice to try that. And I just couldn't quite get that to work. It was having a low V at the front and a low V at the back, and I just found that it just kept falling off my shoulders, and I don't know if I was using the wrong fabric, wrong techniques, whatever, but in the end I kind of decided to just draft the bodice pattern, drape it, sorry. I haven't draped anything in ages, and I actually really enjoyed doing that, and it was nice to kind of get back into that, because that's kind of where I started sewing from. It was a lot more sort of DIY style, so yep, so that's where I'm at with that. Yeah, I really like the really low, the really deep V, but I'm not sure if I ought to do something to provide a bit more stability in it. I don't know if a bit of stay tape or boning, or I feel like a lot of the wedding dresses you actually see have there's little bits of mesh. Actually, I kind of have a little bit of mesh behind, which I guess probably prevents it slipping. I really would rather not do that, but I also don't want to risk a little nip slip in the wedding dress, so I'm trying to be sensible. But yeah, maybe I will get you up to date and show you some of the previous mock-ups I've done. This was the first mock-up, and this one is actually entirely from kind of Frankenstein pattern pieces. So it's two different dress patterns. The skirt and the sleeves from one dress pattern, the waistband and the bodice from another pattern. And yeah, particularly the skirt, I just thought it looks really silly. It looks too big. The V is also way too deep, or too wide as well. And I think because I'm quite short, yeah, I just didn't like it. I think it didn't look great on me. But I'm kind of glad it didn't work, because I think it was nice to kind of force myself to, you know, make my own pattern. But the back is quite similar. Again, it's just actually, ooh, maybe I like that more actually. No, I don't know. The back, yeah, it's just another open back. Meeting at the top will be with some buttons. This is my really organized system. Those are good pattern pieces. These are the ones that I'm kind of going for. Still need a few little tweaks, but right vibe. These are previous attempts that for various reasons I've not gone ahead with. Then I decided to actually buy some muslin and just drape with that, and I think I am happy. I'm happy with where that's at. And it didn't take me very long at all, and because it's quite a simple dress, I don't think making the final dress should actually be that bad, but I kind of don't want to jinx it, and I don't want to leave it more last minute. I think people probably would say 4 weeks is fairly last minute anyway, but I will say previous to this I made a suit for my fiance, so that was a lot more difficult and a lot more time consuming. 4 weeks is ages. Piece of piss. All good. This is the final mock-up top. Yeah, and I'm really happy with the fit, so I think, yeah, I think the changes I made to the bodice pattern are good. I think they will do. I think the fit's good. It's a bit scratty because I was a bit lazy with making it, but the actual fit itself is fine. Only thing that's a bit hard is the back. The back I'm less confident about, just because it's a bit hard to kind of alter and try and like fit it on myself. I've actually just sewn at the top where there's going to be a button just for ease of putting it on in the mock-up stage, and I think that's just something I'm just going to have to figure out with the final one. Yeah, so feeling good. So I didn't have enough fabric to fully cut out a mock-up for the full length half circle skirt, so I'm kind of faking it a bit to cut out, leave a bit of a section at the back, but I think I like the amount of swishiness. Yeah, feeling good today about it. Still not sure about the whole top section. I think I've decided, I was thinking maybe just doing this kind of, doing the deep V, just doing the deep V in the lining, and then having the kind of mesh overlay actually go up into a slightly higher one, because I think I'd maybe prefer that than having to put like skin coloured mesh. And I wonder if that might just be the simplest thing at this point, because that way I still kind of get a bit of best of both worlds, but we shall see. I will update you when I have something to update. Finally got the actual fabric out. It's kind of a meshy tool with all this machine sewn wildflower embroidery. I've got about 5 meters of it, so hopefully I've got plenty of extra. And then this is underneath, it's the lining fabric. I picked this up fairly spontaneously. It's kind of a peachy, pinky colour, a little bit more pink than it's showing on the camera, which I think they pair together alright, but it's definitely still very sheer, so I might have to think about doubling the lining or buying a different fabric to go underneath. But yes, finally ready to crack on with the actual dress. It's about time to cut.
Now going back now, so I have some fabric.
Okay, we are now less than 3 weeks until the wedding. I've got the dress all cut out, but instead of doing any work on it, I have been making a dress to go see Barbie. I don't like it so much in daylight, but I think that the colour of the lining with the kind of overlay fabric, I don't really like the colour together, and I think particularly in the evening and artificial light it looks quite like champagne-y, which is not really what I am going for. So I decided to just go and buy some more fabric. So I'm going to have to recut the lining, but I think it's worth doing that. Yeah, it's just, you know, if there's one time to be sort of quite pernickety and keep trying different things, I think a wedding dress is a good excuse for that. So this is the fabric I've bought instead for the lining. It's showing up pretty pink on camera. It's just a very, very pale pink, but it's a lot warmer than the kind of nude colour I've got at the moment, so I'm hoping that that will kind of counteract the colour combination, the sort of thing that's happening that I'm not liking. And also this is a lot thicker, which is really needed, because I was kind of doing 2 layers, whereas here I think just like, I think 1 layer of the lining will be enough. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on with cutting this out and hopefully get back to the stage I currently am, which is having everything cut out and somewhat ready to go. Yeah, Still feeling somewhat optimistic about it. I don't think it will actually take too long to construct. I'm just being indecisive, and that's what's slowing me down. One week to the wedding, and this is how the dress is looking. I'm really liking it. I also got my nails done today. Little flowers to match the flowers on the dress. But from the front, it's pretty good. From the back, I need to finish binding. So I've been binding on one side, and I've put the loops for the buttons on the top, and then I might need to sort out something about the back because it's kind of gaping, so I might have to unpick and tuck that a bit more, but yes, I've just got to sew it on the other side, then add the buttons. I've got the invisible zip in there. I need to decide as well how this overlayer, if I'm going to like sew this onto anything or just kind of leave it open, which is what I'm leaning to because I think it kind of looks fine, really. But yeah, really happy with how it's coming along. And I guess the next step is just finishing this, and then also based on how much time I have and how much I can be bothered, binding some of the raw edges inside as well. I've got more bias binding, so I think it'd be nice to do that, but I'm also not going to drive myself crazy like doing that because it's perfectly fine, and even on the sleeves it's just I do want to bind it, but like can't you do have to look quite closely before you kind of see the seam inside, so I don't think it's a nightmare if I don't. But I've reached a really nice level of, I'm not going to say not caring, but just like maybe getting a bit realistic with like my goals and my thoughts about it. Like I no longer feel like I need to clean the floor every time I want to get the dress out. I'm not quite as precious over the fabric. It's actually quite sturdy. It's fine. It's a wearable item. I'm going to be wearing it all day. And you know, if there's any imperfections, that's fine because that doesn't undermine how much work I've put into it, and I'm really happy with it.